Hey folks, it's your old pal Fromark here once again, and this time around I'm getting around to finally doing a let's play of my all-time favorite game of all time, Rayman 1, originally released on the Sony PlayStation in September of '95, as well as I do believe this was originally before that released on the Atari Jaguar. I've never played the Atari Jaguar version because I've never had access to a Jaguar, and I don't think I'm really missing much. Ah, yes, the classic Ubisoft logo before they went with that stupid purple swirl. But anyways, if you want to know what this game is about, well, this friendly magician dude here in this opening cutscene is going to fill you all in on that, folks. Let's see what he has to say, shall we?
Hi, folks! You want to know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman! In Rayman's world, nature and people live together in peace. The Great Protoon provides and maintains the harmony and balance in the world. Sorry, folks. This apparently can't last. One fateful day, the evil Mr. Dark steals the Great Protoon and defeats Spatilla the Fairy as she tries to protect it! The Electoons, who used to gravitate around it, lose their natural stability and scatter all over the world! Troublesome, isn't it? And untidy, too. In this now unbalanced world, strange phenomena begin to occur. Freaks and hostile characters appear, capturing every Electoon they can find. They definitely need a hero to save them now! Don't you think? Rayman to the rescue!
No problem.
Go and free all of the Electoons, Rayman, and bring back the Great Protoon from its mysterious kidnapper. But will the bad guys let him do it?
So yeah, there you have it, folks. That's what we're dealing with here in Rayman 1. But I gotta say, folks, this is my all-time favorite game, and I can't stress that enough because this game means more to me than any other video game ever made, more than any Sonic or any Mario game, because this game is just absolute perfection to me. The visuals, the music, oh god, the music, the soundtrack for this game is just slapping at every corner. It's some of the best music I have ever heard in or out of a video game, and I have said before that sometimes a good video game can use a good soundtrack, and this definitely helps. Yeah! I'm gonna name my character file, yeah! Now let's get it rolling, shall we? Oh, I also want to point out that this game was released on the Sega Saturn a couple of months after the PlayStation version. Not really any major differences between the two, just a few little animation extras here and there, but nothing too fancy. So let's get it started, shall we? This is World 1, the Dream Forest, Pink Plant Woods. And each world is broken up into certain levels, and each level has levels within those levels. So it's like levelception. But there are plenty of levels throughout this game, and right off the bat you get those wonderful visuals and that wonderful soundtrack. And this game, you're in for a wild ride if you play this one. Oh, I also want to point out there's a version on the Game Boy Advance called Rayman Advance that I've never played. Yeah! But I want to point out that I've heard it's not very good, that it's just a really crunched down version of this. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because Rayman 1's good no matter what, but I don't know. I feel like the Game Boy Advance version probably doesn't replicate the PlayStation version too well. But yeah, just chugging along pretty smoothly. You think this game's gonna be an easy breezy cakewalk to get through? Well, I got some news for you, folks. It's not. Oh, I want to point out that photographer dude that I just checked in with. That is the checkpoint system in this game. Every now and again you will see the photographers. But yeah, this game starts off easy, but it doesn't mess around after a little while. After you get past the Dream Forest, all hell starts breaking loose. Oh hey, it's Batilla the Fairy from the opening cutscene.
Hello, Rayman. I'm Batilla the Fairy, and I'm gonna help you in your quest. I can give you a new power. Now you can punch with your fist. Good luck.
I needed to. In order for me to punch, that's a power up. That seems like that should just be a basic thing to do. But then again, I suck at punching in real life, so. But the cool thing about being able to use the punch glove now is I can break those Electoon cages open. And there are multiple Electoon cages scattered throughout each level in Rayman. In order for you to get the perfect good ending, you gotta get every single one of them, which makes it a bit of a chore if you're trying for that completionist ability. But the good news is, despite the difficulty and despite all the going back, there's a lot of backtracking I'm gonna have to do, because certain Electoon cages I can't get until I have certain abilities, which you get different abilities in each world. Like for example, there's one coming up later on where you can fly using your hair. There's one where you can hang off of ledges, which also seems kind of pointless for it to be a power-up. Also, some enemies you gotta hit multiple times. I like that these plums can be used as projectiles. That's what those are. And they can be used as little boats. Also, they're delicious. I love plums. And purple's one of my more favorite colors. Now, I do want to point out, I was having a little bit of issues syncing the audio up because for some reason my capture software was being kind of uncooperative with my PlayStation 3. Which, if you didn't already know, that's the version I'm playing is the PlayStation 1 version that I bought off the PS Store. But yeah, I want to point out once again, this game is absolutely awesome and I love everything about it, even its ridiculous difficulty, because it always gives me something challenging to come back to. I mean, there's plenty of games like Mario and Sonic that I've played hundreds of times, but it seems like no matter how many times I play the original Rayman, I can never quite get it down perfectly. So there's going to be a lot of jump cuts, because I do die a lot, but I'm not going to let it slow the playthrough down. And as you see, I will have to go back through Pink Plant Woods to get the rest of the Electoon cages, but I will save that for later. And there's some plums that just swing from side to side. Ride the plums to the next part. Those things are pretty neat, those little flowers. Everything about this game is really neat to me. I mean, just look at it. The visuals are completely gorgeous. It's like I'm playing a cartoon. And I feel like this is one of the better games from its era to do something like that. The animation is just smooth, flawless. There's a lot going on, but it's not overwhelming. It's just, yeah! If Rayman doesn't say it enough at the end of each level, yeah! But it seems like most people do kind of criticize this game for its difficulty, which I can't blame them for that. I had plenty of moments as a kid where I threw controllers or screamed or cussed or typical rage moments. Yeah! But most of them, I mean, you'll understand later. Or if you've played this game before. Now, I wish I could remember specifically when I first played this game. But all I know is it had to have been around 2002 or 3 when I was like 5. And my dad borrowed it from his friend Ed, who's no longer alive unfortunately, but Ed always seemed pretty cool. But old Ed, he had Rayman 1, he had this Hooters racing game for the PS1 that was pretty neat, and this Cabela's Big Game Hunter. And those were the games that my dad would always borrow, and I would always ask him, when are you going back to Ed's? You should see if he'll let us borrow Rayman again. Believe it or not, it took me years to actually beat this game. I mean, I played it a lot as a kid. Anytime my dad would borrow it, and I would just play the crap out of it. And oh yeah, that was the first little boss there, by the way. That's more of a mini boss, but it was a mosquito dude. And there's just so much for me to talk about and gush about with this game, and so many fond memories. And this is also one of the better songs in the soundtrack, in my opinion. Although the entire soundtrack is gold. Just solid gold. Still got a couple more Electune cages to get. But yeah, once you beat up the mosquito dude, he becomes your friend and you ride him to the end of the next level. However, there is a mosquito boss later on that is like a recolor of this dude, who's a little bit more aggressive and has more health, and you just gotta be careful. And sometimes little extra lives will just pop in like that I can't get to quick enough. As I missed that one back there. But no worries. I will have plenty of lives to get through this game. But like I said, I wish I could remember exactly when I first played this game, but I do remember when I first started going to school. My school library had the PC version, and I remember playing that a little bit, but being kind of disappointed because the controls were a little bit harder to really work with compared to the PS1.
You're courageous, Rayman, but you will have to keep at it. Pew pew. Now you have the power to hang.
Which, like I said, doesn't really seem like it should be a power. That should already be given. But hey, what do I know? Let's just keep this train rolling, shall we? Anguish Lagoon, that was. Ah, the Swamps of Forgetfulness. One of the first levels in the game that I'm not really too big of a fan of, but I mean, it's not bad by any means. I think it's mostly the music that kind of gets it for me here, that kind of... See what's going on. Terrazan gives Rayman a magic seed, and then I press the circle button, plant those seeds, and you gotta look out for the rising water. The river she rising. Jump on that plum. Plum, 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 plum. It's been a long time since I ate a plum. I have to buy some. I think they're really good. I just think they're neat. Yeah, free them Electunes. But yeah, there was actually like a... So from like 2005-ish or 2006, somewhere in there, until like 2010, I didn't have the opportunity to play this game because my dad stopped hanging out with Ed whenever Ed started doing like hard drugs, which eventually led to his death. But whenever all that started going on, I didn't get to borrow Rayman anymore, and it was actually years before I played it because nobody seemed to have a copy that they could let me borrow, and I didn't have access enough to the internet to just buy a copy, and I'd never seen it out in the wild, so it was like, how am I going to play this legendary masterpiece? So I spent years waiting, and then finally my 7th grade year, I can't remember her name, but she had a copy of it that she just gave me, and it was really scratched up, but still playable. The one thing that ruined it for me, though, is that the music would skip in that one. But it was on that copy that I beat Rayman 1 for the first time. So that would have been somewhere in 2010, 2011. And I've only beaten this game maybe 4 or 5 times, including the time for recording it on the channel. So that's probably why I will make a lot of mistakes later through the playthrough, but I'll be able to keep it going smoothly thanks to the power of editing and the skill set that I do have in levels that I'm not complete disaster at. But yeah, this is a game that requires a lot of exploration, as you want to look around for all those Electune cages, and I do think it's a little absurd that you need to get every single one to beat the game, but no worries. Yeah! I like that yeah at the end of every level. which is not where I got the yeah from. That actually started back at my last job at the factory, when we would always mess with this one guy, and we'd always, me and my coworkers, we'd always mess with him, and we'd just say, yeah, and he'd get so mad. I don't get why it made him so mad, but it was always funny to just yeah him, and then he would be like, hey, quit yelling at me. Anyway, yeah, I definitely want to jump at the right time here, and hey, it's that magician dude from the opening cutscene. However, I'm not very good at these bonus rounds, folks. I usually don't go out of my way to try to be. Some of them I can do, and some of them I just don't care enough. But the goal here is usually just the same. You want to collect those blue tings, as they're called, which are basically like your coins. If you get 100 tings, you get an extra life. If you get all the tings in the bonus stages and the time limit, you get an extra life. But you see, I was low on time here, and I just noped out. And it looks like I'm close to the end of this part, so yeah, there's another Electoon cage. Alright, I got all of them this time. Ah, yeah, this is happening. And I will just fall my way down here. Yeah! And that's gonna do it for part 1 of Rayman, folks. I hope to see y'all in part 2. And yeah, just stay tuned for it. See